Welcome to the Witchy Work Wishes podcast, a place to find your weekly inspiration for bringing your personal witchcraft practice into your business, work, and office. Welcome to Witchy Work Wishes. I am your host, Charlene, and today you are joining me for episode number 33, Creating a Servitor. And I have a guest today to help walk us through the process. But first, I always like to start with 3 things I did over the weekend to help with my witchcraft practice. Coming off such an emotionally fulfilling couple of weekends, like I've had, really gave me the desire to keep that energy going. I have felt so very peaceful these past 3 weeks, and I know much of it has to do with having a weekend with my boys. That specific energy with them fuels me. And I am so very thankful with every moment I get with both of them. I am a big believer in the pendulum of life and really do feel that to the degree we experience pain, that pendulum swings to the other side and we feel joy. Life is not all sunshine and rainbows, but how lucky are, those of us who have a pendulum that actually does swing to both sides. For those who don't, it kind of hovers in a stagnant state, in the middle. No big feelings of joy and no big feelings of sorrow. So I wanted to keep myself grounded, and I continued my outside projects, specifically connecting to the earth element and spending time with the wildlife, my crows, and everybody else outside, that has taken residence around me. And with everything feeling so peaceful and centered within me, it was nice to appreciate the balanced emotions and keep myself centered with them. So along the lines of gardening, I worked on some office greenery projects. I took the clippings that have been propagating in water and planted them in some amazing hanging pots that are centered in the office windows. It instantly changed the vibe, bringing that earth element into what can be kind of a cold corporate space visually gives us that softer, more lived-in feeling by bringing green life into the room. So I have one more pot to hang and fill, but everyone in my office is loving it, just loving it. I did work on my new witchy work projects. I don't know if you guys can hear Lovebug, but every time I talk, he's talking with me. So I am so excited about this project, and I cannot wait to share the final version. I did start the outline for my Servitor too, which walks us right into today's podcast. Now, I've never made a Servitor before, and my office really needs one. While researching Servitors, I came across an amazing article written by Yaxel a couple years back. I think he did it in 2021. Anyhow, it's posted on the Occult Living Room blog under the Chaos Toolbox, and it was exactly what I was looking for. So I ended up reaching out to Yaxel to see if he could join me for this podcast and walk us through the steps together, and he said yes. But before I grab him, real quick, our beautiful moon this week, she's getting super strong for her big full moon weekend coming up. And while the moon is almost full, it's called a waxing gibbous. And it's a great time to make any final adjustments to things or projects that you started with a new moon. Okay, well, let's switch over to today's topic about servitors. I'm going to go grab Yaxel and my notes, and I will be right back. All right, I am back. And I am super excited to welcome my guest today, Yaxel, who is helping us walk through the steps to create a servitor.
Hi, nice to be here.
I'm so excited about this. This has been something I have been looking into for a while and really found out, since it is my first time doing one, that I needed to reach to somebody who speaks this language and has done it before. And I loved the article that you wrote on servitors.
Thank you.
I found online. Yeah. So tell us a little about yourself and where people can find you.
So I'm Yaxel. I am a chaos magician and tarot reader. I also do other forms of divination.
Okay.
You can find me on Instagram at Manic Fox Magic. That's my main account.
Okay.
And it was
then I
Manic
also have,
Fox Magic?
yes,
Okay.
magic with a K at the end
Okay.
too. And then I also have Manic Fox Divination, which I'm just starting up, and that's going to be dedicated to my divination reading practice.
Perfect. And what I'll do is I'll grab those links and I'll have those available for anyone listening in the show notes.
Thank you. I've been practicing now for about 3 years.
Okay.
Very, very obsessively.
So it's kind of a rabbit hole, right? Once you start, it's like hard not to just keep having it mushroom on you.
Oh, without a doubt. And there's so many different topics you can breach, and it's a never ending. It's like you said, it's a rabbit hole.
It is. So 3 years, and how many servitors have you made?
Oh, I came in dozens.
Really?
Some, I've had varying degrees of success. They don't always work out for you. Sometimes, it just doesn't work.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I've done a lot of experimenting with it and like trying different techniques and trying, because a lot of the information you find online is scattered and not very well organized and put together. It took a lot of research for me to even learn what a servitor actually is.
That's definitely the part that I started getting very overwhelmed with, and I did not want to do it wrong. So I was so happy when you responded to my note, just to help, because I knew if I needed it, probably somebody else needs some guidance too. So, Axel, what is a servitor?
Well, a servitor is an entity or a spirit, if you want to call it that, that is created by the practitioner. In my view, I follow the psychological model of magic, and it all comes from our mind and our consciousness. And the way I describe a servitor is you're pretty much taking a blank section of consciousness, and then programming it and coding it with certain features, like what tasks it will complete and what abilities it has, and you're coding that consciousness to behave a certain way and giving it life.
I see. Does a servitor, does that energy have to be attached to something physical? Meaning you have,
not necessarily. Sometimes people like to make an anchor for the servitor, like a base, or like a little figurine, or something small, like a statue,
right?
And people like to attach their servitor to that as sort of a home base, but it's not necessary.
It doesn't have to be that.
Right. Sometimes you can totally just make a servitor and have it be floating around in the ether,
Yeah. I think as a society, we're so visual. So sometimes having that visual connection or link almost empowers. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. And it gives you something visual to focus on while you're trying to work with it. It gives you a base to work with.
For sure. I like that. Okay, so if somebody is new to this and they wanted to create their first servitor, what do you think the main 3 steps are? What is this step 1? What do we got to do?
Step 1, you have to have a purpose or a task for the servitor to do.
Okay.
It has to have some sort of purpose. A servitor is given a purpose and a task to complete, and it does that. So I made a servitor to help me find random objects random neat objects.
Sure.
And so that would be its purpose or its task.
Okay.
That's the first thing you need. You can't have a servitor without that.
Okay, you want to create a servitor. It has to have a purpose, and the first step is to define what that purpose is. Now, right. Can a servitor have multiple purposes, or
it's recommended against it?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to. They're very simple. They're very simple entities. They're not meant to do a million things at once. If you want more than one task, create a servitor for each one.
Oh, I see. Okay. So step 1, give it a purpose. And what else did you say with that? Give it a purpose and what?
Give a purpose or a task or
a task. Okay.
Right. Anything that this is what the servitor does. Define what it's supposed to be doing.
What is the second step?
I would say giving it some sort of form. You can. Sure, you can make a servitor and have it be just some mental entity, but if you give it a form, I like to make my servitors based on animals. But I give them some sort of supernatural occult twist, like a cat with 2 tails.
Yes.
Or I have my one servitor that helps me with my divination readings. He's a green monkey.
I love that. That's awesome.
You can just create, I created a servitor for protection named Ruthless, who I call Ruth for short.
That's definitely the one I'll be focusing on.
And she's an anthropomorphic white tiger that has armor and a shield and a sword.
I love that. And you don't have anything necessarily physically assigned to that. That is just an image
Right. It's just something to visualize.
Mm-hmm.
Something that gives you servitor, something that you can actually talk to, you know. And then step three would be birthing it or activating it or whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
And there's a million ways you can go about that.
How
I
would you
tend to use
suggest? If you've never done one, what would be a good way to start to
I
activate
tend
it?
to use I tend to use like a slightly modified version of Phil Hines' method he talks about in Condensed Chaos,
Okay.
where you meditate and you ground yourself, meditate, and
Mm-hmm.
you visualize in front of you your servitor,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I visualize it as like a ball of like glowing light of energy.
Yeah.
And then I visualize an umbilical cord stretching from my navel to the energy source, right, or the
Sure.
light. And then from there, I write a statement of intent,
I like that.
which outlines what it is, what its tasks are, what its kill switch is. It outlines all of it, right?
Right.
And I speak it directly to this energy form, which I then visualize morphing into the form that I assigned it,
Okay.
and then you just release it.
When you are activating it, are you letting it know what the job is? Like, I'm activating
Mhm.
you for this specific purpose and job.
Exactly, like the statement. Like I was like, so in my statement out of 10, I'll say, "Your name is blah. Your purpose is this. You." Sometimes I like to assign correspondences to my servitors.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll get like they're represented by the element of fire, and
Mm-hmm.
a deity is like Zeus. You know what I mean? And I make all these correspondences align with what their purpose is
Ah.
to help kind of empower them a little further with symbolism.
So you also just mentioned, or you said something about a kill switch, and I was going to ask, what are the steps that are needed to specifically keep your servitor active? Like, I'm guessing you can't just activate it and think that that's it and walk away. Like, you need to keep nurturing it
Right,
and move it along. But so you said kill switch, and I'm guessing that has to do with releasing it, or if something potentially goes wrong,
right.
and you need to. Okay, what is that? So what do you mean on that?
See this. So I guess the way I make a servitor is I have a template that I fill out, and the kill switch is on there, and I tell the servitor, and it's while I'm reading it, the statement of intent.
Mm-hmm.
I include the kill switch in there as to what it's and the kill switch is something that's like a random sort of actions
Sure, sure.
that you would never do otherwise.
Right. This specific to that servitor.
Right. Like
Mm-hmm.
say the kill switch could be like I like to do say their name backwards and snap your fingers,
Okay.
and that will release the servitor and will dissolve it back into nothingness.
Right. Now, is there a difference between that kill switch and releasing it? Is the kill switch more like in an emergency if something is going horribly wrong,
I,
or it's all the
it's
same?
just when it's just all the same
Okay.
in my opinion, at least. When the servitor served its purpose or you no longer need its effects,
Mm-hmm.
then you just use a kill switch, so it's not just starving out there, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't just leave it. So what would you do if you have you know what the purpose is, you know what the name is, you know what the image is, you've assigned a job or a purpose. What do you need to do to keep your servitor active?
Well, so servitors need an energy source to stay alive,
Mm-hmm.
and something I have found is crucial to keeping them alive is attention. They
For
need
all
your
of us, right?
attention, right? Right.
That's right.
But yeah, you need to be like you need to like summon your servitor and be like, "Hey, I'm acknowledging you. If they've done a good job, thank them, acknowledge it. Show them appreciation. Treat them like you would an entity.
Right, right. Since they are specifically working for you, you don't need to do like offerings or anything like that, right? You are truly just, you're saying you are
You can't
performing a job for me ish.
right.
Okay.
You can do offerings if you'd like as a form of feeding them.
Okay.
Like I've not really done that much. I don't really do offerings for anything really.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But it's definitely something that could be done, and I've heard of it being done. Is offering a servitor like a glass of wine for doing a good job.
What about sigils? Are sigils ever needed with servitor work, or what is your take on that?
I do both. I've done both, no sigil
Mm-hmm,
and sigil.
mm-hmm,
And a sigil is helpful because it gives you like a point of focus, like
mm-hmm.
in order to call your servitor and in order to feed them. It gives us point of focus. It gives you something to latch onto. That's not just you visualizing in your head.
Right, right.
It gives you something physical you can actually interact with. So it's not necessarily needed, but it can be helpful.
Mm-hmm. What about, so the project, not to make this all about me or anything, but the project that I'm working on right now, and it is my first servitor, is definitely something for my office. And this podcast, I always try to pull in, no matter what the topic is, something that ties it back to the corporate world or, our work environment. So specifically for my office, I've had some, not clients come in, but, people connected, vendors with clients and so forth that are making me and my staff feel uncomfortable. So we definitely want to create a servitor for protection and something that would protect the office and the staff that's in it. And I've got crows as part of my company name. So having a crow or a raven as a servitor is the direction that I want to go. And I really wanted somebody to maybe do like a wood carving of so it would, for sure, for me, I think I would need the physical connection to something. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How would you guide me through like that one? You're like, okay, once I actually have the wood piece and that raven in front of me, that physical, wood raven, how would I go about turning that into my servitor for the office? And I guess I should ask you first, can a servitor protect more than one person? Can it protect?
100%. 100%. So first you want to do is write down. I have a template I'll send you that I use that is pretty much like name, purpose, abilities, kill switch. It's pretty much a template that lists everything you need to. It's all writing. It's a lot of writing,
But that's okay. That's the work of. Is that something, Yaxel, that I can share with everybody listening?
Oh, 100%, 100%.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, I'll send you the link. It's a Google Docs link. I'll send you.
That's amazing. I'll add that in so people can if they're looking to do a servitor, they can. It's just so much easier when there's steps, like step 1, step 2, and then you just don't forget anything until you're used to doing it, and it becomes maybe more fluid and natural.
Right. When I first got into making servitors, I was doing it all the time, just kind of having fun.
Right.
So I wanted to streamline the process a little bit. So I created this template. I have a basic template and an advanced template.
Okay.
So, and so what you want to do is you want to fill out that template before you do anything.
Before I even get the actual piece that I want to make.
Oh, no, I'm saying, no, once you get the base.
Yeah.
Then you want to just fill out the whole template, with all the information you need. And then you're going to write a statement of intent like I was just talking about, which I'll include an example of in my template.
That would be amazing. Thank you.
And pretty much what you're going to do is you're going to sit in front of the statue, right?
Yep.
And if you want to sigil for the servitor, draw that out and put it in front of the statue.
Okay.
And just, you want to, so you can have like a connection there between the sigil and the statue.
As it's getting activated, it's all right there.
It's all right. And just do this, and activate it the way I like. If you want to see the step-by-step process that I use, or at least base my process on.
Right.
Look in the book Condensed Chaos by Phil Hine.
Okay.
And he gives a good breakdown of how he gathers energy for it in the first place.
Right.
And how he bursts a servitor once he's gathered that energy.
That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Is there a timeline that servitors are more actively working in where they become less useful if you use them for a long time, or is there? Have you found that?
Well, really, and servitors are supposed to be have some semblance of intelligence, and they learn from as they go on. So the older servitors, the better they are usually.
Okay. Because
they have more time to gather information and learn, and they're kind of like cheap AIs,
Yeah.
Right, they did this and it works, so then they learn to do that more. But they did this and it didn't work, so then they don't do that.
So if you activate a servitor, realistically, you could keep, as long as you're feeding it and keeping the energy alive, you could keep it around
indefinitely.
Definitely, okay.
Yeah, and it should get stronger over time the more you feed it. Kind of like when you birth it, it's almost like it's like a newborn. Yeah,
it gets smarter and wiser and stronger as it gets older. Okay.
Exactly.
So would there be any difference then in if someone was making a servitor for their home or for whatever the purpose is there any difference or something we should look at uniquely for a more corporate or office environment, or exactly the same steps either way?
I don't have any. I'm so far away from the corporate world that I can't really speak on like.
That's okay.
But I can't see why it would be different. Maybe the fact that there's so many more personalities and energies around than say me in my house.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you might want to like ramp it up a little bit, try to make it as strong as possible. Maybe
Keep
I'm just
that
kind of
energy, keep feeding it, and yeah.
yeah, because
Okay.
you're gonna have to interact with so many more individuals than say mine will when I'm just sitting in my apartment.
Okay, that's good advice. Well, I know you do some is it tarot reading or oracle or what?
Yes, tarot.
Would you be willing to, based off of the questions and creating a servitor, would you be willing to do a card pull for us or
100%.
yeah, okay, we always love that.
So what exactly do you want me to ask the cards?
Oh goodness, let's see. How about, so it doesn't have to be specifically for me, but anybody, is there something we could direct it to about what guidance would you give us for making our first servitor? Anybody listening making their first servitor, what guidance after listening to this podcast?
Let's see. I'm only gonna pull one card,
Okay.
and it's in the deck is a Tarot of the Unknown. Pulled the Six of Pentacles.
Okay.
The Six of Pentacles represents vigilance, charity, and dispersal.
Ooh.
You can't see the card, but it's depicts a person carrying scales, getting coins out to what looks like homeless people.
That's interesting. I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe it's just saying that
I'm wondering for a servitor and how, especially for the line I was thinking of protection, and there are
right,
multiple people in an office usually. So it is kind of
right,
a giving, it is kind of a giving, yes, protection that it's a
right,
giving card to pull, right?
right. Yeah, the card is all about charity and helping others, and
I love that. Yeah. So that is amazing, right? I mean, thinking that I need to do something for the office and help protect them and take care of everybody.
yeah,
I think that's a very fitting card.
it's a good deed done for the benefit of everyone.
I love that. Awesome. That is that amazing card pull. Thank you. Well, is there anything else you can add for our servitors or that you would like to, as far as getting us through the whole process that you say, hey, just in your experience, watch out for this or don't forget this?
I I think the most important thing to remember with a servitor is they require attention. Like don't forget to feed them. And I have reminders. I set reminders on my phone when I'm working with a new servitor to remind me to interact with them. And so like once a day at 6 o'clock, I'll call them up and
Yep.
interact with them. So it's very important to make sure they're being properly attended to. Otherwise, they'll fizzle out and die and not work anymore.
Okay, so that makes, and sorry to cut you off, that makes me think of another question to ask you. So, if it is a servitor that somebody is creating for their office or work environment, and they are in your more typical Monday through Friday type scenario for work, could you say goodbye to your servitor and let them relax over the weekend and kind of rest?
Oh
And
yeah,
say
yeah,
good morning to them again on Monday morning, and the
yeah.
fact
You
that
can definitely get a
yeah,
routine like that. Yeah, definitely. Like maybe when you get into work on Monday,
that's when you,
and
yeah,
and they'd be like, "Hey, it's time to get to work again."
right.
And then on Friday, when you're about to go home, say, "Okay, weekend."
Yeah, you can rest. We'll see you back on Monday
Yeah,
morning or get into
and
that. Okay.
and then make sure to thank them and show gratitude for the work they do, and they respond to that kind of stuff.
So I know I did an episode a while back about the fae and fairies, and I was learning a lot about what you can and can't do with them. And thanking them
Yeah.
is one thing that I've learned we're not supposed to do. We can be appreciative of
Okay.
things, but for servitors, it sounds like really just the opposite. You actually do want to say thank you because they are specifically doing a job for you.
Right.
Okay.
And it's just like I'm not familiar with the Fae. I didn't know you shouldn't thank them.
Yes. That was kind of new to me too. I didn't know either.
The Fae fascinate me though.
It does me too. Yeah.
I
That whole
saw this
area.
great. I saw this great joke the other day about why I have ADHD.
Yeah.
It's because one of the Fae said, "Hey, can I have your attention?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And
You said yes.
now they have my attention.
And they never give it back. That's actually a great explanation. That's awesome. Well, okay, no, sorry, I did interrupt you. Was there anything else? We were kind of wrapping things up and
No, just treat them like you would a person who's employed by you.
I like that. Yeah.
Show them gratitude. Give them gifts if you can. Just
amazing.
treat them with respect, and they'll work a lot better than who would you rather work for? The demeaning boss who just demands, or would you rather do a good job for the person that is appreciative of you?
Absolutely. So we're
You
creating a
are,
relationship.
yeah, you are their boss,
Right, right.
so you want to make sure you're a healthy boss.
I like that. That sounds, I'm so excited to do this. I cannot wait. So it's going to take some time to get the artist to carve the raven for me, and we're going to work out, what that image is actually going to look like. But I am so excited.
Yeah, it sounds like a really cool project.
You is. When it gets done, I'll take pictures and put it up on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah, I'd really like to see that.
Yeah.
Another thing that I do is I use the AI art generators. I use those now to help me generate the forms of my servitors, and it helps give me an image to latch onto.
We're so visual, right? That's just so helpful to have something of what the servitor looks like. If it's not something
Definitely.
physical, it's got to be something you can imagine and think of in your head.
Exactly.
I've never tried the AI artwork. Is that fun to use or?
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
it's a blast. It's a blast. Yeah, I really like AI art
yeah.
that some of these new generators produce.
It's just amazing what computers can do right now.
It really is. And then plus, like, you haven't used Chat GPT either?
Okay, like twice. I'm not versed on that one at all.
I've had like just random times where I'll just throw some stuff in there, and
Sure.
and I've had Chat GPT write me a spell before. It's pretty cool.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it developed a banishing spell for me.
I never even thought of using it for for spells. That's amazing. I love it. All right. Well, Yaxel, any last words? Again, where can people find you? Can you remind us?
Instagram
Mhm.
at Manic Fox Magic, and at Manic Fox Divination.
Is perfect. And I'll be sure everyone to include those links and any information that Yaxel can share. Yeah, go ahead.
Also, I like to plug the Occult Living Room.
Yes, yeah. Oh, that's where I found your article. Yeah, that's on
they are an excellent occult blog. I'm a little biased. I write for them, but they really are an excellent occult blog that has a lot of class and not as much fluff. They have a lot of real serious pieces that are really informative and helpful, and it's a fun community.
I'm sure some of my listeners are versed on that one, but I'll for sure that is absolutely where I found your article on Servitors, and which led me to reach out to you directly. So I'll be sure to link that one too, so that if people want to go over and is it a blog or is it a full website?
It's a blog.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a staff of like a bunch of writers, and we all contribute to it.
I love it. Well, be sure to let them know that you're on this podcast. So I'm actually airing this on Wednesday, so it's going to be a quick turnaround. I'm going to edit over the weekend and get you right up. So I'll send you the link, and then you can let them know too and say, hey.
Awesome. I can't wait.
All right. Amazing. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to not only walk me through the process of a servitor, but what it is to make one, but everyone else listening too. It's amazing.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been great. I've always wanted to be on a podcast.
Here we go. Here's the first one. All right, Axel and everyone else, I'm going to go grab my poem, and I will be right back.
All right, I have my poem, and I just wanted to extend another big thank you to Yaxel for sharing his knowledge and experience on servitors with us. We did talk a little bit longer, and I might be able to bring him back for my episode on sigils, since that is another area of expertise for him. So we're working out the details on that one. But for the poem today, I did personally write one for the servitor that I'm going to be creating for my office. So here we go. Servitor, I call you forth, and bring your energy alive. The task you hold is brave and true, and with your strength will thrive. Servitor, I name you, from this day forth and on. I call upon your chivalry, from morning dusk to dawn. Servitor, I give you power, with water, air, and fire, and with the grounded earth, your protection is my desire. Servitor, I praise you and give you all my love. Please guard me and protect me from all I tell you of. Servitor, I call you in all your strength and power. Be brave and protect the space from your watchful tower. Well, that is all I have for you this week. Next week's podcast is all about essential oils for the summer and certain ways we can incorporate perfect ones for our office and corporate world. And I have Kathy joining us again from SYV Oils to navigate us through all of the information we need on it. After that, I have a podcast about the summer solstice. So we are coming into, those summer months and the heat and all of the amazing energy that comes with it. Till then, have a great full moon weekend coming up, and I will talk with you next week. Thank you for joining me today at Witchy Work Wishes, a place to find your weekly inspiration for bringing your personal witchcraft practice into your business, work, and office. For more information and additional content, please visit me online at witchyworkwishes.com. If you want to send me a personal note, please email me at info@witchyworkwishes.com. And of course, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Just search for Witchy Work Wishes.